Looks like we're live. Wow, that was really easy.
Okay, good. Welcome to the 7th day of our Activate Your Full Potential Challenge.
Woo!
We're so excited. Today we have Abria with us, who is the owner of Prana Force. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, awesome. And Abria does so many amazing things. He uses the hand pan and brings people through these amazing musical experiences and meditations. And he also has really powerful and potent message to share with the world. And so I'll let you kind of take over and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me and sharing this insight with so many beautiful people. My name is Abria, and what I share and practice is a mix of sensory activation exercises. And basically, if we know our reality to be measured by our senses, how do we acknowledge the things that we're experiencing based on what we see and smell and taste and touch and feel? So with that, since I play the handpan and I teach yoga as a form of getting into the body, those really help because it's things that you can hear and see and you can feel and touch because you're using your senses in those certain ways. The practice that I've been sharing has integrated more of a guided meditation. So it's beautiful because of what you're sharing with so many in regards to awareness and community. This is a perfect time to share with people to be more aware as to everything that they're doing. And what that would often mean is exchanging where we set our attention and why we're setting our attention on any given thing. Because I feel personally that our attention is our most valuable currency. If we were to spend our currency or our attention on anything, what is calling our attention, from family to work to technology, right? So these are the ideas that that I've noticed and I acknowledged, and overall I feel the consensus is the same because people know what assumes or consumes our eyes and our ears and our mouths when we're hungry. So it's fun to explore. It's not a heavy thing in pursuit of attaining anything. It's more of reminding myself, as well as anyone in or around space that's seeking, that we have most of what we already are looking for. It's the acknowledgement that we already have it, and to remember that it's within us. How do we activate it? So I'll say things like that. Activation station, which is basically like any moment that we come into a realization, what are we going to do with it? At the end of a yoga class, and we have all these great memories and this elevated emotion, how do we take that off the mat and really practice our yoga for the next 22 hours, for example? So a blend of using the handpan, which is really beautiful to use sound without words, as the words even that I share are casting certain images for you or whoever's listening to get a feel of what I'm talking about. The thing is, any given word that I have will potentially be different than yours. So I'm looking and feeling as to what's the most effective way to inspire as opposed to just tell people what to do, even though oftentimes people want to be told.
I love that.
Yeah,
like,
just
physical
practice.
action into it.
Yeah, put something to it now. Like, what's next? What are you going to do? Or are you going to be that, that image that we desire and know that we're meant to experience?
We jumped right into like your content, and I would love the audience to know, I like your mission. Your content is just, it goes so far and so deep. You're actually doing events around the world. Every time we talk to him, he's somewhere different. Putting on these events, changing people's lives. Can you describe a little about your like actionable steps that you're doing right now? I know you teach yoga, and I know you teach these events using those. And these are ancient, what are they called again that you're using? Hand pans. Isn't it like, can you describe a little bit about like that and some of the other processes that you're actually leading right now?
Absolutely. Well, the instrument itself is 20 years young. the actual instrument evolved or derived from the Caribbean or kind of steel, or uh, inside it would be played with like little sticks.
Wow, so it's young. It's not ancient.
However, the sound feels ancient.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's something that's cool with that. You have something with antiquity that seems so modern, but you don't know where it's from and you don't know how it evolved. So it feels ancient in that way, and especially on whoever is the one orchestrating it or playing it, because it really moves through that person. It's not so much that I'm playing it as it's playing me. And that's kind of a nice way to feel like, okay, that takes the pressure off because I don't have to do anything. I just have to be me. So along with that, when we flow to different countries, we being the collective of other guardians of people out there that are doing their practice, which is basically acknowledging what their gifts are, doing something with it, and seeing what sticks. There's so much time now going and studying, and people then inquiring and wondering, do I have enough certificates and things that say that I can do this?
I'm there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's beautiful, we go and do the training, and then we say, okay, now I'm ready, sort of.
Right. Taking the action
Someday.
and just jumping in and doing it.
Yeah.
And
As
I
opposed
can attest to I would just like to say, your music, and I know it's channeled and it's source working through you, but even listening, and I haven't even heard you in person, but listening on Instagram through what you share, it like I can feel it in my core. I know I've shared that with you, but it's so potent and powerful what you're doing and channeling that through you. And so some people may have not heard of a handpan before, or what you're doing, but it is very potent. And I can feel that just through Instagram. I can only imagine what it'll be like in person.
It's the combination of your work. It's not just the sound healing that you're doing, but the words that you're saying to it is you described that, how you're connecting the two so that we can imprint in change our subconscious.
Yes.
It's really good work.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point, because the instrument can be the same exact instrument, and I pass it to somebody else and they'll play it and channel it in their own way. Which is beautiful, because it shows that it is a different entity or energy outside of us. It's like no given instrument is exactly the same. As much as you could 3D print or make exact designs with precision in a machine, these are made by hand. So with that being said, that means that the alchemist that's creating it is also channeling. Whoever's tuning it is then also channeling. And if there's multiple people involved, then you're dealing with or working with energy that's of many energies, not even including the elements of what it's made of steel and nickel and iron or whatever it is from the earth. It's basically a amplified crystal. It's from the earth. They take something from the earth and then squish it down and then flatten it out and then shape it and then tune it and then play it. It's like, can we not acknowledge magic now?
Totally.
Yeah, I love that.
Sara just shared your almond story.
Oh, the experience, just in what it takes to get some of the little small things that we might not think about, like what an almond goes through to get into your mouth, the journey of the almond, and how much it took to pick the almond and get the almond to the store, and then how hard you worked to be able to buy the almond. So it's an interesting perspective on this magical piece that you're putting into people's hands, the story behind it, and then the story that's created from the merging of the two.
Absolutely.
So where are you now? Where are you on your journeys at this moment?
I am in the Pacific Palisades in Los Angeles, California.
And where were you last time that we spoke? You went to a couple countries.
I was in
Egypt.
The pyramids of Giza. I was in the base of the Giza Plateau in Egypt.
And what were you doing there?
Activating stations.
I love that word.
And what country were you? Somewhere right before that? Somewhere else?
In Israel and Jerusalem.
Peru? Were you in Peru?
Yeah, I thought no, and there's somewhere. I thought there's somewhere else too.
And then just before that, I was in Machu Picchu, Peru.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's incredible.
So cool.
You're on a mission. You're taking your mission. And each and every place, are you doing the same thing with hand pans, or do you have another process as well?
You know, it's really based on the community. The main intention is to find exactly who is out on the ground. I can get in front of, you know, really high influencers. I can put myself in front of indigenous people, but the main thing is whoever shows up. The thing is this: if we have all of these insights and we have people that are ready to dance, but then people just say what they say but don't do what they say, it clearly shows me who I want to play and dream with, because I have that sovereign choice.
Yeah.
And everyone should also know that, because if they're not ready, which is okay, I cannot rush anyone to be in a space where it gets really so flowy and all yes. That's what we deserve, I feel.
Yeah.
Especially if we know how clear our intentions are, or how clear we've seen the images and the experiences we wish to experience, then I shouldn't let or allow anything else but that.
It's really powerful and potent, I think, for the 2020 year. A lot of us are standing up and saying no more. That's a Sarah and Lindsay word. To toxicity, no more to this old way of thinking, and yes to what is serving our highest expression. And that means our environment and our circle, and working with those who are really in a yes place. And then you just see the magic come from it. And you are actually from Maui, right? This is your territory. We're coming to play in your territory.
Yeah,
and
this is one of my main hubs. I grew up in San Francisco and born there, but I have been based in the islands for some time.
That's magic in itself. Maui has so much to show us, and we stateside have so much to learn from the islands. And we really hope that we do a deserving job of both treating Maui with the respect and love and service that it deserves, but also taking the message back to the mainlands and essentially around the world. It's leading pioneer in so many movements. Like Hawaii was one of the first to ban the bad sunblock, and now they just did plastic bags. And so in environmental, spiritual, there's a lot that we have to learn from it. So what is outside of, I think if people don't know as well, with sound, there's been so many studies done where it shows how it can actually move ailments in our body. We can do sound healing for so many different things. And it's what he's doing with the work that he's doing is it's just creating this healing atmosphere. Are there some specific tips that people can start doing right now if they don't have a hand pan that you suggest, or a challenge that our listeners might be able to take away with them?
And Abria, feel free to go into Dream It Real as well, and
into
that aspect of it.
Yes. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, well, the tips and the Dream It Real, they all blend together. So for example, if I were to share any insights for people that are really working to actualize what they've been dreaming, what would we use as a baseline to just show up? Like just to show up and be present with whatever it is that we do feel. Because if we're not present with our baseline, it's hard to be able to project the future without ever actually being there. So I would suggest that to be able to acknowledge where we are physically, mentally, and spiritually in the moment, if we have a lot of things going on, it's good to acknowledge it, not to disregard it and just assume that we're going to move right into the next dream without acknowledging the things that we've already been encountering or enduring or experiencing. So I would say that would be a really good start, because now we have the moment and we're in the present. From there, then maybe this is a good time to start considering what it is that we want to experience. And what would be the best way to do that would be not to focus on the how we're going to do it, but why. So one of the TED Talks I shared in Holland in 2014 was called Dream It Real. The base or the theme of the talk was on Maslow. Abraham Maslow was a Russian psychologist that had studied Native American tribes and created the baseline of the human hierarchy or the human needs. If we were to look at what our human needs are from the base of the human needs all the way to the top where we actualize and do what it is that we're meant to do, it has to do with all our basic senses that we know, again, wrapping back to what we shared in the beginning, to be our reality. Otherwise, we're going to be way in the future or way in the past, and then it's hard to be in the baseline, which is where we're starting from now. So the first thing would be to see it. If you want to figure out your why, you have to see what it is that you are working towards or for. If you don't have a big enough why yet, people that are in this practice, it's going to be hard to figure out how to do it, because you're going to be thinking, or one might be focused on more of how am I going to get the money to go to Maui, to experience Odyssey, or et cetera, as opposed to why I'm going there is to experience complete transformation and remove all illusions of any story that is not real because it hasn't happened yet.
Woo! Yes. Yeah. You're activating that heart chakra. You're getting that manifestation energy going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So think and feel are two different things.
Yeah.
If I have you in the mind, I'm going to be moving, brain waves. If I have you in the heart, meaning not like I have, but then you're moving from the heart, then what we do is not for love, it is from love.
Woo,
So
let's just
good.
hold on to that for a second. I love
Sink into
that.
that.
The Course in Miracles, that's the grounding work. We're either in fear or love. And love is the most powerful energy that exists in this world. And Dream It Real is your company. Just said that. It's a part of your company, a mission and part of your company.
Yeah, it's basically the mantra. If I were to create or consider what I would say to anyone that's in the flow, that's working on or trying to, or in movement of their dreams, well, working on and trying is kind of not yet there. Because trying is to, like, if you were to consider the most powerful slogan in the world of sports and athletic brand, and I were to say, well, just try it, you're not going to get anything done. You're going to be sitting there trying to put your shoes on to go on the run, opposed to just do it. But just do it is Dream It Real in another form. Dream and reality are two different sides of the spectrum of our illusion and duality. Which one would you consider? Is a dream that we have when we sleep just as potent and inspiring as when we're in the day? Living reality? Absolutely. So how we cast these words, how we go into feeling, then we have our why. Now we know we have a mission or a quest. And I had a video that we just launched called The Quest. And the quest is basically calling out our other collective tribe, because at this point, you two have come into one, knowing that you're more potent together than just by yourself.
Yeah, we are. We're like a little twin flame.
Exactly. And with that, when you stand back to back, you have how many sets of energies? Now your auric energy or your awareness is 360. So, and then imagine that we have that whole tribe and group or collective also facing up, also facing down, and at every angle. Now we're in omnipresence, meaning that our energy is expanded beyond our physical desires. I don't have to wear all these hats. I can pass it on to someone that's really good at that and wants to do that.
So powerful.
Yes.
So if you were to now have the why, now you have a reason, and you have the reason why, then you're able to see. Usually that will require our eyes, or even if the eyes are closed, we start to have a vision. So my question would be, or the tip would be, see something so much that you feel it. Feel something so much that you become it. And it's like an ABC 1, 2, 3. I mean, I'm looking at how to make this easier, accessible for general public, and make it sustainable for even the people that are in deep challenge or suffering based on their location. They could be in a state or a country of war. But they still have to have some type of vision and picture something that they wish to experience, which would mean they probably have to do something they've never done before, or dreamed a way they never have before.
Yes.
To experience something they haven't had an opportunity to feel yet. So those are the tools, excuse me, that would help assist or support someone into feeling we'd have to see it. If we're driving down the road and we look back to the back seat, we will no longer be exactly pointing forward, because our arm is connected to our shoulder, which is connected to our body, which is connected to our head, meaning my vision changed, and so did the line of sight in the direction my car is pointing.
So you want
And
to
it only takes a moment, right? It only takes one moment to get distracted.
Yeah. It's so easy to get distracted and fall into the habits that have shaped who we are, that we picked up from childhood. But how you're speaking about it is taking our power back and knowing that we're not victims, but we are artists of our lives, and we can create. Are you there?
Uh-oh.
I think you.
We lost.
Ah!
Maybe. I like what you're saying, though.
Thank you. Lost my train of thought.
Again,
now,
it's funny how this conversation went from Nate as our beginning, and this is our ending, and it really talks about, again, to just have that vision, set your intention, and do a live video on our own, because we lost our alert. We're gonna pull them back in, so we're gonna pause and come back. We're back.
We're back. We had a little hiccup. So we were just talking about just realizing the power that we have within ourselves to quantum leap into the highest expression of ourselves, and aligning together with like-minded people, all for this great cause. So
and the work that you're doing with Dream It Real. So we have the process. And what can we go on the phase that we're at right now with you?
Yeah, the last few were just, what are the tips? What would be something that people would acknowledge in order to start practicing or living their dream or their lifestyle that they chose? And the first is having the why. So we have to have a big enough reason why, as to why we're doing what we're doing. And then we'll start to figure out more in time, or with the right collective of people, collaboration wise, how. And part of that is also the seeing something visually so much that we can picture it as if it's already happened, yet now, right now, feeling those emotions that are elevated within the heart and body.
I love
Or smell. I love when you can even smell, like, say it's a house or a car or the chocolate that I now left behind us in the middle of the break.
Don't forget that smell.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Because if we forget the smells and those other senses, it's like a little bit of extra codes that we forget that we need in that formula in order to feel it so much. And so everyone has different sensory activations. Like, I have a really high sense of sound. I mean, I can hear things in different ways that may be different from other people, which isn't good or bad. It's just how I interpret it. And also how I share in sound when I speak. I know what cadences that are just natural and intuitive, but I also know how, based on training and practicing, and what's effective from years of teaching yoga or leading people in sports or whatever it is. So if we have that in exercises, which is feeling something after you've seen it, is now if you see it, you have an image or a video in the mind or heart space. When that elevates with emotion, intelligent emotion, meaning that we're cognizant and in clear comprehension of whatever we're focused on. And Dr. Joe Dispenza speaks on this often.
We just talked about him.
He's our favorite, one of our favorites.
We were just having this, that was the first one was Joe Dispenza.
Yeah.
And he's had all the scientific studies behind him. I mean, his research is out there, and it's opening up our heart chakra, the most powerful love source to manifest things that we want in our life.
Absolutely. And when I first heard and began kind of channeling with his stories, I realized that he's basically sharing exactly what Dream It Real is about. But he's using and leveraging science as a tool, knowing that science can only measure so much. The rest of it's magic that's unexplicable. You know, you go to Egypt and you sit there at the base of the pyramids and you really want to contemplate how that was done.
Yes.
It's really hard to fathom.
birth, the same thing. There's a lot about conception and having children that science still is like, I don't know why it does this. Like, how does it know it? And that's just the miracle that exists. Can we have you actually turn your camera? We did something on you where we're now sideways and you're,
Oh, there we go.
That way when we pair you later, we're right in sync. Thank you for doing that.
Sure.
Yeah. So the magic behind it that sometimes just and I explained, we cut you off. Sorry, we got excited with Joe and you were quoting Joe.
Yeah, I was just sharing that the baseline of what he's sharing is based on elevated emotion and clear comprehension.
Mm-hmm.
So it's using emotions based on body, like heart, I feel, and maybe tummy.
Yeah.
The comprehension's based on mind. So when we move mind, body, and then what is magic could be called spirit or something like that. Now we're moving in multi-dimensional or quantum visual way that has nothing to do with all of the suffering and the things that we know we have to pay bills and this and that. It's basically another layer of expanded awareness.
Powerful.
So
Elevating
it's very potent.
and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that's a big passion of her and I. We're always like, did you hear this? Did you watch this? Did you? Because it's like it exists. And also Dr. Naram, who you'll be basically on stage with, that's what he does is he uses energy. Well, he has 6 different modes on how to heal someone instantly. People that are incurable or in comas, they said would die, he cures them.
Nice.
But there's 6 points to it. And one of the main points with Marma is energy. And it's the same or similar idea behind Joe and what you're talking about is, and even Burt Goldman talks about energy and quantum jumping. But it's moving the energy in our body and then attracting the energy that we want in. And this is the basis of what you're doing or what you're talking about. And Joe even will go into discussion about and training with how it correlates with our chakras. And I think that's what you're saying with our stomach. So like our power chakra and our heart chakra. Is that right?
Yeah, it's kind of like your secondary or maybe primary brain is the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It has so many neurons connected directly to the heart and the brain that to disregard it would be kind of silly, although it's normal because it's not at the highest point of the physical body when standing. But if laying down, everything's on the same plane. So now we don't have a hierarchy idea. Everything's substantial and important. So
I love that.
Yeah.
it's really how you look at it, right? We have different ways and angles of perspective, and it's good to have many angles, but it's ultimately up to the user if we're the ones using this technology, meaning we're the ones aware of being in this body. We have to be very, very gentle with all of the different ideas that we believe and discern any information if it doesn't feel felt. Otherwise, it's going to be a thought, and it could be steered by somebody else's ideas or written words that we don't know when it was written, who it was written by, and what the intention was.
I just feel so moved when you're talking. I don't know why, but obviously you're really powerful. Your message is felt deeply.
Yeah.
And something that's just coming up is like subconscious work. And like, I think a lot of us struggle with like worthiness or attracting abundance in our life. The work that we're doing, Dream It Real, it correlates and connects with that third brain, our intuition, and also like moving our subconscious. Is this work that you help people get through and do?
Yeah, initially it has to be with conscious because most of the time we're not acknowledged in the subconscious as being part of our consciousness. But if we were to look at it as hierarchy, here's subconscious, here's conscious, and here's higher conscious. So look at it as 3 different planes, and it's very similar to there's a past and there's a present and a future. So which would you wish to be in? If you knew that you could clear subconscious programming of what we've endured when we were young, things that we were told that may not be true, that we're still resonating with because it's passed on not just from our parents and teachers and environment, but like thousands of years.
Science is proving that our DNA memories go back over 10 generations back.
We just taught a workshop on that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And that's so good to touch on because that shows that like, okay, all of these feelings, these challenges that I've endured and I'm X amount of years old, there's no way that it could have accumulated in that amount of time. There's no physical way.
Right.
So where is it coming from?
Yeah.
Mm.
Totally.
You know, it's nice to then consider that maybe it passed on from not just our parents, so we can forgive them. Maybe not our grandparents, so we can forgive them. And myself first, before I judge any more of the ignorance that I see around me,
Mm.
because I'm the one that's going to put the heat on everyone else.
Mm.
And it's not their fault either. So I have to surrender to the fact that all I can do is with what I have now.
Yeah.
Mm.
And if that's true, I can scan as much into the past as I want to,
Mm.
or into the future, but my reality is somewhere in between.
Mm.
And I'll then maybe be okay with enduring the duality that I have to deal with every single day, of seeing complete wealth and complete poverty.
Mm-hmm. I say this a lot. I just want to yell at people to do the right thing. Like give me and we're gonna yell at them because it's hard and it can be very depleting as a light worker and someone who wants to help wake people up. It's really something good to remind ourselves of is that exact thing you said. You were saying though, which would you rather be in the 3 levels, right? Well, we would rather be in the highest level of consciousness, right? And that's the direction is moving towards that level, right?
Yeah, you can. It's a great the idea why I shared hierarchy is because then people can get an idea of how important all 3 are. But if you laid it down, which would be most important?
Higher level of consciousness, right?
If you laid higher consciousness down in line with the subconscious. Because now do you see anyone being higher than the other?
No.
Right.
Okay.
So that means that potentially, and this is up to you to be discerning with, and everyone else, all matter.
Yeah.
And all need to be encompassed.
Mm.
And all need to be embodied. And then we transcend any separation, and then it doesn't become 3 different spaces. We are now in every time and space and acknowledging what we can do with what we do have and what our purpose is, and we can smash any other illusion that's trying to steer us from not being important to also be in the subconscious, because if we forget about it, then it's below. And we can be conscious, and that's pretty good, but we want to be in higher consciousness. And why higher consciousness? Because higher seems like more, and that's not always true.
Interesting.
If we have too many things and things are too hot in the kitchen or in, you'll burn something, right?
Yeah.
Balance.
But if we can find balance and harmony and something that satiates all needs of both the mind that says, I want higher, but also the heart that also wants middle, but also the darkness that's going to follow us either way.
Yeah.
How interesting.
Wherever we go, where there's sun is, there's going to shadow like cast somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's how we play with that, and acknowledge it as not being a thing, because it's gonna want to flow with us.
Right. And just to add on to that, embracing the polarity and the contrast of the different things that we experience as human beings or spiritual beings in physical bodies, being able to embrace all ends of the spectrum. And I think if we're able to accept and witness and hold space for the uncomfortable things that we feel, we are making space for us coming into our fullest selves.
They say, right, the farther you're going over into the dark, this is what I just read, because I'm going through my own transition, the farther over to the light you'll end up going.
Yeah.
So like if we're experiencing these contrasts or these great transitions or hard times, there's just an equally, if not greater, on the other side of it that we're getting to. And if you're looking at it in that way, you just know you're doing the work. We're doing the work for the highest level of our own expression. And having that mindset will help a lot going through anything you might be going through.
Absolutely. And it's a good share. I was just going to offer that when people are in the practice of these different ideas, to acknowledge the speed and rate in which they're moving, so they don't have to feel like they have to have it right away.
Yeah.
But that it does take time and acknowledgement and a meeting halfway. To dance, you have to come meet halfway. And then in that meeting, maybe possibly there's some energetic movement between 2. And that's where we can get into that space of incredible, ecstatic presence and creativity, whether it's with a lover or a business partner or whatever it is. It's just a matter of acknowledging all those things so we can expand, and not just higher, but in every direction. At this point, we need to ground just as much as we rise.
Yeah.
So
good.
That's a quote. We should have, that's another bumper sticker. That's a great one.
yeah, we got to get that.
That's really important. I'm a
Very
water
important.
sign. She's the earth. And I'm always like, girl, you got to ground me down. Like, it's really important. That's really important.
It's true.
I think that dance between it, like what, if we're all experiencing, or where people are in this moment of great transition and feeling the heaviness of what might be going on in our world or just in our personal lives, the dance between where we're headed, and you said like meeting it there. Like, I love seeing that analogy of just more of a lighter way to express and to move through what we're going at, and dancing our way to meet that other energy, that other side of that energy, and or working.
Yeah.
Is there a few other tangible tips that people can practice, or a challenge that you have for them? I'd love to keep you on forever. I don't think we can. So is there some takeaways outside of them getting to see you in Odyssey, or going to your website, that we can start, Lindsay and I can start practicing right now?
Yeah, I would say that, you know, the main two insights that I have are from old talks, two different TED Talks, one called Dream It Real in the Netherlands, one called Removing Negative Self-Talk in Thailand. And both of those talks share about our senses, and they share these different questions that are really important to ask ourselves as to why we're doing what we're doing, or to acknowledge where we're at currently. If we don't ask, we'll never know, kind of idea. So one of the things that could be supportive is in the second talk. It's called Removing Negative Self-Talk. And the first question is what we speak the truth? So if we're in conversation and we're sharing something, because oftentimes we'll share something and we don't know it to fully be true.
Right.
Because we saw it online, we had enough momentum, and there was enough emotion behind it, there was enough likes, there was enough whatever, that it holds validity to the point that we would share it, or we would speak on it, but we don't know it to be true. So if it's something's not true, then we right there have an opportunity to share or not share based on it being the truth. And if we're not speaking on anything that's not true, then we wouldn't have to speak too much. We wouldn't have to use so much language to define or explain or validate anything to anyone.
Yeah.
So these are just some ideas. That would be one question. The second one, is it necessary? Is what we're speaking on or talking about, especially when it comes to voices, is it necessary? If something's coming up and people have a question and we want to jump in because we know we can help, because that's what light workers do. We want to always help. But then oftentimes if people don't know how to manage energy or time or space in their collective good intention, we oftentimes don't have our cup too full, and then we go into whatever story, which seems to be very cyclical. And if it's 2020 and we want to make it all about the year and all the numerology, then make it about the year and the numerology, and stop doing things that aren't working.
Yes. Love that.
So basically, that would be the second. Talk to me.
Do you have a hand fan on you? Or in your vicinity?
Is he done with his questions though? Is that the number one and number two?
There's just one more, but I do.
Okay,
go for it.
Sorry,
Getting ahead of
myself.
I
know you just got so excited.
We do that a lot around here.
Yeah. So that the last question is, so we have, is it the truth? Is it necessary? And does it improve upon the silence?
Can you explain that?
So if there's a moment of silence, and silence is so powerful in itself,
yeah,
is what we're speaking on top of that silence improving upon it? And if not, then that captures, is it true? And is it necessary? And does it improve upon silence's power? If someone's reacting and yelling and screaming and the other person's being silent, that's much more potent. Because why would I react if I wasn't engaged?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
What a practice.
Yeah.
To not get in the loop.
Yep.
I get
Sucked
in the
in.
loop. Yeah, I'm ready. That's a really big practice. And what we're saying, all this applies to what we're saying to ourselves. That's what
Right.
you're,
And it has
underlying.
to be internal conversations. If you need to write it down or put it places in which you can see it, then do it. If it's something that we've never done before, then we probably should practice it by doing it if we want to have an experience without any expectation, because we're not going to know the outcome until we do something different.
Right.
Okay, can you say it one more time, the 3, please?
So, is what we speak the truth? Is what we speak necessary? And is what we speak improve upon the silence?
Truth necessary, improve upon the silence.
So good.
Practice, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that was a quote by Sai Baba, a Swami from India. And the practice of all of those things is whether someone is willing to exchange the comfortable, normal habits that we have in order to feel and be challenged with what we have been trained with, what we've been programmed with by our families, our society and culture and religious beliefs, which are all beautiful and have weight and validity in some way at some point. But as we're noticing, we're evolving our new experience and culture on our own between our ears.
Yeah.
And we're the only ones that can do that.
So true.
If we were all just a little bit more careful about the words that we speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really, really powerful. Or the words that we let in. I have you read the 4 agreements?
Yes.
I take things personally. That's like my, out of the 4, the one that I try to work on the most. And it's words. I really want to love and serve. And, you know, when other people have words that are feeling like I'm not doing a good enough job, I'll tell myself something. And so coming to that practice of, is this really truthful? Well, probably not, because I have a tendency to take it deep. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you so much.
Okay, back to her hand pan, I guess.
I was gonna say, if you have your hand pan in hand's reach, doing like a 30-second snippet or taste of what you offer.
Sure. Yeah. I can just head up. It's just 2 seconds upstairs.
All right, we'll chat. We'll hold the floor.
You want to hold the floor?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yay, thank you. I love that
So
practice.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
very good.
It is so important to take a moment and question the things that we're saying to ourselves.
Yeah. And I think being brave enough, I'm super big on emotional intelligence and like checking myself. So I've had so many patterns. I think a lot of us have, especially that are on the path of improving or living our best lives that we desire, is checking ourselves when our limiting beliefs or those lies pop up and being humble enough to make the changes and say, okay, this is not how I want to be living.
Yeah. I think especially when we're going through something where we feel victim.
Yeah, victim.
If there's some exterior circumstance that's happening in your life, getting to that, is it true? Is the story I'm making up about this experience true? And then recalibrating with yourself, like, what are the hard facts and what is actually something that you might be perceiving in your brain to be actual but is not, and then reframing it.
Yeah.
And changing. Oh, look, there it is. Oh, this is so exciting. Good idea. So journey.
Is this still working?
Yeah, just go horizontal.
There
Yeah.
Awesome.
See if I can get it here.
What does it remind? It's like a turtle shell and a
Yeah.
UFO all in one.
So this is the hand pan, just to give you a little visual.
Beautiful.
It's so pretty. Is this your personal favorite? Do you have one that's like your favorite?
I would say it's the one that's meant to be in reflection of me at this time.
Yeah, I love that. Good point.
Because there's others in guardianship that I'm like stewarding, but this is the one that travels everywhere around the world with me. So
How special.
yeah. So if there's something in our vision that we can see so much that there's a vibration in the mind, that vibration may shake to the point that we feel an emotion, and that emotion could make us cry, laugh, basically feel. And if it moved from the mind into this dimension through a tear or truth bumps, that means we can move something from the mind or the internal body into this reality. How is that possible?
Magic.
So we're using a very ancient, basic fundamentals that our ancestors spoke on. Always speaking about dreams, always speaking about visualizing, always remembering through the arts of dance and voice, always acknowledging the feminine and the masculine to be balanced in everything that's happening within ourselves, whatever archetype we've come in as. So how we move our sound or our life force or our energy is so important, that we know and we can feel that what we're speaking on is not just in support of ourselves, but in reflection of what we're calling in. What do we want to see in front of us? Who do we want to play with? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it smell and taste like? And maybe, without expectation, we have an opportunity to feel that in our lives.
So beautiful.
It is.
Thank you.
It's so unique.
Yeah.
It's self-development meets sound therapy. And it's almost like the feeling you experience with this instrument is similar, to me at least, as sound bowls. It just feels like a deep, energetic change in your chemistry and in your body. We are so thankful and honored,
so grateful
to be doing this with you, to have you at Odyssey this year, to learn from you. I can't wait to see what happens, not only in front of people, but behind closed doors. I've been saying I'm really excited about the conversations that we, the team, are going to be having. We, the speakers and the holders and the producers, for this year, for every year to come, for the work that we're doing independently, and how we might continue to help each other's mission, even though it might not be at Odyssey. how we can support each other through the work that we're doing. And we just have uber's amount of gratitude. And I'm really grateful that Lindsay found you and you guys found each other and that you're with us now. We want to give away one ticket. And we are doing financial aid. We are doing local tickets that are substantially less. The locals only get it, they get it for only $300. We're doing financial aid for people who can't afford it. And we're also doing payment plans. So if people need all of those payment plans, financial aid, and local, whatever it is, this is a 501c3. So the no closed doors for anyone who really needs the work. We want to open it up for them. So we're in mind of that. We're giving away one free ticket, and we need one word from you that our participants are going to give to enter in. What is one word that we can send the message out?
Okay. So if I could just share before I give the word, the different options in which you're offering are so valuable that if we don't acknowledge the options, then people may feel or make up a story that is why they can't experience what you're offering at Odyssey. Really, really important for people to know their why, because if they know their why, they'll figure out how, because you're offering different options. So there's really no excuse to experience something unless that individual is clearly and openly acknowledging that they're just not ready.
Right.
And that's totally okay.
Yes.
The thing is, to dance with someone means you have to meet and press a certain amount of energy to create that magnet, to create that amplified energy, so that aurically we expand. If and when people are ready, they're going to choose one of the options and know that to move their energy, to move or clear, requires investing in themselves, not outside of them.
Yes.
And that's not just money.
Yeah.
Clearly, this is energetic.
Oh, yeah.
However, in the tangible form, to have options is nice, because otherwise it would exclude. But I feel we can do it at certain points, but other times we need to also open things up. So I just wanted to share that for anyone that may be listening or watching, because it's not about if you want to change your life. If means that may or may not happen, but when, it's gonna. So just changing or rewriting that story, and I'll be touching on all that as well.
That's really important. Thank you for mentioning that. I personally had experience that made me who I am today, going to Bali. When I was 25 years old, I met my third mom, Vicki Hannah-Lynn, who's my teacher and everything. She was my teacher in college at the time. And I heard a voice in my head that said, go. And at the time, all logic would have said I couldn't financially afford it. I couldn't do all these things. And that's what other people are, Maui's not cheap. So getting there, your plane ticket, finding your vehicle to get whatever, your stay. But the universe provided for me. Everything fell into place. I was gifted flights and I just had support all the way around. And so that's for anybody else listening. If you go to your why, like he's saying, and really sink in there, that feeling, the universe is just going to show up. You would be amazed at what airline might sponsor your flight, or just what will happen when you make your mind up that you're willing to do the when right now to change your life, to open and expand and elevate.
Taking that first step of just deciding and allowing spirit to show up out of faith and knowing that good things are coming.
Absolutely. So thank you for that offering. And in alignment with that, the word would be, our company is called Prana Force. So pranaforceyoga.com is my website. But Prana Force prana means life force. So prana, in the word of pranayama, which is to warm up the body through an activation of your breath. But prana and the word force would be to apply your energy in a direction. To use force would be to move something. So to move life force is what Prana Force is all about. In that moving, because we're never still as much as we want to think or feel that, because the planet's moving. And so is everything else that's vibrating in and around us. And the water's moving, and so is the air, and so is the light, and all the elements that we've been gifted. So the word would be Prana Force. That would be the key word that I would offer. And it's one word.
Prana Force.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That energy, there's 100 trillion atoms in just one cell of our body. Just one cell of our body. We're made up of energy. We come from stars. We can do anything with our mind when we make up that we're going to do it, because we're just energy. So we can attract the energy, make the energy, come up with things, create planes and all these other things. It's absolutely possible. Where are the places where everybody can find you later? Can you give your website again? Anywhere else you want to maybe to sign up for? I don't know if you do newsletters, or maybe when they come to Maui, if they're coming to Odyssey, is there a place they can come visit while they're there?
Absolutely. We have a location in the North Shore of Maui, about 15 minutes from where Odyssey will be based, in Paia. And it's called Prana Force Sanctuary. The website's called pranaforceyoga.com. My Instagram is my name, ABRIA JOSEPH, and or Prana Force Yoga Bria. So at the end of the yoga is just my last 4 letters of my name.
And that's all on your website too. If they go to your website, you have all those linked as well, the social medias. Okay. Beautiful.
All the talks are there, the videos and things like that. And that will be the next channel, is to share sound. We have friends that build and make hand pans, as well as I've built a few myself on the land in Maui.
Wow.
I'll have those available once I'm on island. So if someone's really looking to activate even deeper, they may be able to go home with one if I have one available.
Wow.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so many options.
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
Oh, how exciting. Oh, we're so blessed. I feel just so grateful. Hopefully we can sneak one more time before we come, and we'll be in touch. I still want to figure out how to get all of our speakers at your land and property. So we'll be texting outside of this, and
we'll set up something special, whatever feels good, and it'll be really conducive to the group to share.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone that's joined us.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon in Maui.
We'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.